Morning, sunshine. One thing I'm thinking about today is the different kind of modes our mind can have to work in during a day, which I think oftentimes we don't even notice or think about because we're used to flowing from one type of task or role into another so often and seamlessly that we don't realize that we're doing not just different types of work, but also different types of mental work. So I think a little bit about how it's kind of like how cars have several different gears, except it's not a perfect metaphor because I'm not just thinking about speed. I'm thinking about like a qualitative difference in different mental modes. And specifically, what I find helpful is to separate thinking time from executing time. And what I mean by this is, what do I mean by this? I think thinking time for me is really reflective. Like it's a feeling of like almost a frequency on the radio dial that I'm trying to like tune into and hear. It feels like listening to me. Sometimes it feels like guidance. It feels like groundedness and clarity. And when I can tune in, I can hear and see a lot. And then my goal for myself is to take notes so that I remember on other days or in other moments. So it can be or feel kind of mystical almost, but it can also be kind of ordinary, like, oh, this is just when I make my to-do list for the day. I'm just listening for like, not just what I think is my good idea, but even something better than my own good idea, if there's something like that. I'm just setting aside for like thinking and reflection. Then maybe I'm making my list for the day or for the week. And then when it's execution time, I can just execute that list. I can just go through those tasks. And I don't need to feel like a lot of clarity, and I don't need to be dialed into the frequency. And I can be kind of scattered or restless and just like go back to my list and be like, what am I doing next? Got it. Let me just correct that error. Let me just edit that thing. And it's a relief not to have that super present, like eagle eye wise, like I'm flying like an eagle and I'm looking out over the lay of the land, looking at the big picture when I'm thinking. When I'm executing, it's just like walk the path. Like you've mapped the path, now walk the path. So my idea for today is just to really try to tease apart thinking time and executing time. And when you hit those thinking spaces, to really make as many reminders as you can for yourself. Like, what are all those things you're meaning to write? What are all those calls you're meaning to make? So that in all the other spaces and times, you don't have to be like so uninterrupted or so like still like to hear it. And it also helps me divide my labor and to tell myself like, all you have to do right now is think about it. You don't even have to do any of these things. Just think about it, write it down. And some other days I'm like, you don't even have to think about this. All you have to do is do it. So consider just splitting up your thinking and your doing functions in your mind just with a little bit more awareness. And see if it doesn't, while you're in each mode, lighten your load to know like right now, all you gotta do is that part and none of the other parts. That helps me take it like kind of one moment at a time. Okay, friends, more soon.